What is up, everyone? Piscean here. In this video, I want to show you actually fully fledged out Memorandum of Celestial Lore. This looks way better than my other videos because I got help finally making this using Claude Anthropic AI. But before we get started, please like, subscribe, comment, share if you dare and care with peace and love. And let's get started with this video. So this is essentially a compendium of planetary archetypes, zodiacal signs, fixed stars, lunar nodes, and asteroids, as we can see here. And I'm really excited to bring this to you guys because, as you can see, it says here, like a complete memorandum to all students and practitioners of the celestial arts from the Astral Archive and Office of Celestial Record, responding to doctrinal lore of the heavens, planets, signs, stars, nodes, and asteroids. And the purpose is to preserve, transmit, and illuminate the essential mythological, symbolic, and functional lore of the primary astrological significators used in natal, mundane, and horary interpretation. So right off the bat, this just looks perfect to me. And I was really excited to see that Claude came up with this. So it has specific sections dedicated to like the luminaries, the classical planets. We see the 7 classical planets visible to the naked eye formed the foundation of Western astrology for more than 2 millennia. In Hellenistic, medieval, and Renaissance doctrine, they were held to be living intelligences, each one a governor of specific earthly domains, a ruler of certain signs, and a conduit of divine light into the sublunar world. The sun and moon, called the lights or luminaries, hold positions of supreme dignity. So we get that general theses or general statement of what we're talking about with our subtitle in each section, like an actual fucking memorandum of celestial lore. So I'm glad I got this fully fledged out, and I hope that I can like actually make this into a magazine. Whoa. Oh, I see why I did that. Okay. I was having trouble because the pages were set up differently. Alright, so let's even talk about the sun in more detail. The luminary, it's fire, masculine, diurnal. We have a nice quote here. The eye of the world, the heart of the cosmos, the throne of consciousness. And we get to have our little plot here on what the sun is all about. We get our symbol of what the sun looks like, of course. In mythological lineage, the sun corresponds to Apollo, Helios, Ra, Surya, and the Egyptian Aten, all solar deities who embody illumination, divine order, and a principle of selfhood. Astrologically, the sun signifies the rational ego, the divine will, vital life force, and the relationship to one's father or paternal figures. Its annual journey through the zodiac marks the seasons, and its position at birth, the sun sign, describes the fundamental quality of one's conscious identity, creative expression, and deepest aspiration. That's the basic, general stuff we need to know about the sun. We also see the domicile rulership, of course, is Leo. We get the symbol. We see the exaltation is Aries, specifically 19 degrees. Detriment, Aquarius. Fall, Libra. Day, Sunday. I'd go as far to say this is supposed to be like an almanac as well. I'm just glad I actually got this to be fully fleshed out. So we also have the metal, gold. We see the body. It corresponds to the heart, spine, right eye in male, and left eye in female. Keywords are vitality, sovereignty, will, identity, fame, the father, honor, and creative fire. That's what we think about when we think of the sun. Okay? And the yin and the yang we talk about also corresponds to the luminaries. So really quick, because for some reason my brain is all over the place. So we know the yin and the yang, right? The yin is the feminine, and that would be the moon. And we see our yang is the sun, just based off the archetypal traits. So for the moon, of course, it's a luminary, water, feminine, and nocturnal. We also see, the quotation says, the silver mirror of the unconscious, nurse of all mortal life, keeper of tides and dreams. By the way, there will be a link to this in the description below, and hopefully more to come so I can actually get my words out there and have people reading it for themselves and seeing that I'm trying to make sense of this world, and I deserve to be heard as well in a world that, honestly, the medical system's already fucked up my life, so nothing scares me. The silver mirror of the unconscious, nurse of all mortal life, keeper of tides and dreams. The moon corresponds to Selene, Artemis, Hecate, Isis, Chandra, and Sin, lunar deities presiding over cyclical renewal, the unconscious, and the fertile void. In the natal chart, the moon rules the soul, as distinguished from the spirit ruled by the sun, governing instinct, memory, habitual emotional response, the inner child, the body's rhythmic functions, and the primordial bond with the mother. So the moon's phase at birth flavors one's relationship to the world of feeling and intuition. So what do we usually see? The domicile rulership, always Cancer, exaltation, Taurus, specifically 3 degrees, detriment, Capricorn, fall in Scorpio, day, Monday, or moon day, and metal is silver. We see for the body, it's the stomach, of course the female uterus, female breasts, lymphatic system, left eye in male, right eye in female. And our keywords are instinct, emotion, memory, cycles, the mother, public, nourishment, habit, and soul. So, this is what we see with our luminaries. Now, we're going to fast forward to Mercury. We're going to talk about an inner planet. It's mutable, it's neutral, and is bicorporal. And I'll expand on that. So, the messenger who crosses all thresholds between gods and mortals, waking and sleeping, living and dead. Mercury embodies Hermes, Thoth, Nebu, and the trickster sage across world mythologies, the winged communicator who bridges disparate realms. In astrology, Mercury governs the rational mind, okay? Your speech, writing, commerce, contracts, short travel, siblings, and all processes of perception and classification. I'd go as far as just to say Mercury is your entire family. Mercury is not just your siblings, it's also your mother, your father, and the way you communicate with them, but also we see the cousins involved. We see uncles and aunts involved, step-parents involved. We see grandparents through Mercury, nephews, nieces, your entire family. The way you communicate with your family is Mercury, working through you and through them and with whatever placements they have and placements you have. So it is the planet of wit, versatility, and nervous system acuity. Okay? Because why? Mercury lies so close to the sun that it's perpetually within 2 signs of the solar position and frequently retrograde. Guess what's going to happen in a few days, guys? We have Mercury going retrograde in Cancer, and I'm not excited for it. Every single time we have Mercury retrograde, of course we know what do we see? We see a lot of bullshit go down. In our personal lives, in the external, we see it. So as of June 13th, which is actually my ex-transvestite's birthday, who's really a repressed homosexual man. June 13th, Sun's in Cancer, Mercury's in Cancer, pre-shadow begins, Mercury's slowing down. And as of June 29th, which is in less than a few days, it's going retrograde next Monday in Cancer, and it's not going to stop until August 7th. And I say August 7th, even though retrograde ends July 23rd, because the post-shadow begins on July 23rd as well, which means we still have lingering effects of Mercury being slowed down, weakened, and in retrograde. So Mercury in Cancer, in my opinion, is going to be a lot of people snapping. It's going to be a lot of people talking about politics, and I'm one of them. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I don't give a fuck what this retrograde brings, but bring it on, retrograde, bring it on. We've done this a million times before. So I believe in past lives and reincarnation. This is absolutely nothing new for me. Anyways, this is a condition associated with delays, revisions, and inward contemplation of thought. Okay? In so many words. So we see Mercury's domicile rulership is Gemini diurnal and Virgo nocturnal. Okay? We also see it's exalted in Virgo at 15 degrees. Mercury in Virgo, it's its home sign. It's curated by Mercury. It's ready to go to work. It's ready to be of service. We also see Mercury's in detriment in Sagittarius and Pisces. Mainly Pisces, Mercury falls in. And I have this placement, Mercury and Pisces, in my 11th house. At least in my Western chart. And I have to admit, my life has been complete gibberish. I mean, confusion after confusion after confusion about what to do next, how things are really working in this life. People are genuinely confusing to me. Like, the way things work in this world are genuinely mind-blowingly confusing to me. So, the day is Wednesday for Mercury. The metal is Quicksilver for Mercury. In our body, we see it's the nervous system, our lungs, our arms, our hands, and our tongue. We also know our keywords are the mind, communication, wit, commerce, siblings. I'd even go as far as to just say family, even though some would say, oh, that's Cancer. Well, Mercury is also that. We're talking about planets here. Travel, perception, and duality. Mercury is also androgynous. That's why we have this term here as neutral, that for me nowadays is androgynous, and also Mercury is trans, whatever that ideology is. It's a gender ideology. And this is Mercury working in its full effect. I'm dead serious. So we will see more of this conversation with Mercury in Cancer retrograde for sure. Venus. It's an inner planet. It's earth and air. It's feminine. It's nocturnal. She who rises from the sea foam, love that civilizes the heart and teaches beauty as a form of truth. Venus corresponds to Aphrodite, Inanna, Ishtar, Hathor, and Lakshmi. Goddesses of love, beauty, fertility, and cosmic harmony. In astrology, she governs aesthetic sensibility, romantic union, financial values, pleasure, art, diplomacy, and the principle of magnetic attraction. As the lesser benefic, Jupiter being the greater, Venus brings grace, comfort, and reconciliation wherever she operates. Her dual domiciles, Taurus and Libra, reflect her dual nature. So Taurus as sensuous, earthly pleasure, while Libra as idealized relational harmony. Okay? So we see the Venus domicile rulership is Taurus, nocturnal, and Libra, diurnal. Exalted in Pisces, specifically at 27 degrees, and I have this placement. It's also, the thing is, when you say a planet is exalted or detrimented, people can actually have a really, really good life with a detrimented planet like Venus and Aries, like Venus and Scorpio. They can actually do really good. And meanwhile, people like me that have Venus and Pisces are getting messed up in toxic relationships, thrown back and forth, getting abused in every which way. So which one would you prefer? To be a stuck-up person who can defend themselves in relationships, or someone that's at the end of the brunt and getting abused and used and misunderstood? So, in its detriment, we see Aries and Scorpio. Its fall is Virgo. Day is Friday. Metal is copper. In our body, it's our kidneys, our throat, our skin, reproductive organs, and Venus system. I also just watched a video earlier about Archie's astrology. He released his video as of today, June 22nd, 2026, Archie's astrology, Talking Astrology with Archie. He said that Algol, the fixed star, is correlated to people having very serious throat problems, hypothyroidism, in my opinion. And since I was on testosterone, I've had very serious throat issues. Of course, testosterone made my vocal cords deepen and thickened, but who knows? I might have throat cancer in the future, just because I'm also a heavy smoker. But the universe will do what it does. I also have Mercury in Pisces, so who knows? It could definitely end up like that for me. I really hope it doesn't, but... Keywords for Venus. We see what? It's love, beauty, pleasure, it's art, your values, attraction, harmony, wealth, and aesthetics. Okay? We're moving on to Mars, which is an outer classical planet. Okay? Fire and water, masculine, nocturnal. The red warrior who teaches that desire without will is dream, and will without desire is dust. So Mars corresponds to Aries, Nergal, Tau or Tur, Tiu, Tur, Mangala, in the martial archetype across cultures, the principle of courageous action, righteous conflict, and directed will. As the lesser malefic, Mars governs drive, ambition, raw physical energy, anger, sexuality, surgery, weaponry, and the capacity to assert boundaries or overcome obstacles. In traditional astrology, Mars rules both Aries, which is cardinal fire, initiation, and Scorpio, which is fixed water, okay? So, desire and regeneration. In the modern scheme, Scorpio passes to Pluto, though Mars retains secondary co-rulership. So we know now the domicile rulership for Mars is Aries diurnal and Scorpio nocturnal traditional. Exalted in Capricorn, specifically at 28 degrees. Detriment Libra and Taurus. Falls in Cancer. This day is Tuesday. This metal is iron. In our bodies are muscles, adrenal glands, blood, head, and our genitals. Keywords are drive, courage, desire, war, energy, surgery, anger, ambition, and sexuality. But I even go as far as to say, is Mars really sexuality, or is that our friend Mercury up here, and also Venus? Venus is your sexuality, and Mercury, being as androgynous as it is also your sexuality. So, Jupiter is an outer classical planet. It's fire and water, it's masculine, and it's diurnal. The great benefic, the thunder father who expands, enriches, and initiates the soul into wisdom. Jupiter corresponds to Zeus, Marduk, Thor, Brihaspati, and Amun, the cosmic king and divine lawgiver. As the greater benefic, Jupiter signifies expansion, abundance, philosophical wisdom, higher education, law, religion, long-distance travel, foreign cultures, and the grace that lifts fortune. He governs the joy of exploration, optimism, generosity, and the impulse toward meaning-making. Jupiter's shadow, however, is excess, hubris, and the inflation of ego. He blesses most when his largesse is tempered by Saturn's discipline. So, Jupiter, the domicile rulership is Sag, diurnal, and Pisces, nocturnal, traditional. Exalted in Cancer at 15 degrees exact, detriment in Gemini and Virgo, falls in Capricorn, day is Thursday, metal is a 10, body is liver, thighs, hips, arterial blood, pituitary gland. I'd even go as far to say are just veins, our arteries. So just blood in general. And the keywords: expansion, wisdom, luck, abundance, philosophy, law, faith, generosity, and travel. Okay, that's all Jupiter. Now we talk about Saturn, which is an outer classical planet, earth and air, masculine, diurnal, the great malefic, and the great teacher. Kronos, who devours his children, time who makes all things accountable. Saturn corresponds to Kronos, El, Shani, and Ninurta, the cosmic limiting principle, the lord of time, karma, and consequence. As the outermost visible planet in classical cosmology, Saturn marked the boundary of the known universe and presided over endings, restrictions, discipline, hard-won mastery in the weight of karma. He is a planet of bones, old age, solitude, authority, and the profound lessons earned through patience and perseverance. Where Jupiter opens doors, Saturn tests whether one is truly ready to walk through them. Okay? So what do we notice? The domicile rulership for Saturn is Capricorn nocturnal, and Aquarius diurnal traditional, exalted in Libra specifically at 21 degrees, detriment in Cancer and Leo, falls in Aries, its day is Saturday, its metal is lead, in our body it's our bones, our teeth, our skin, our knees, chronic ailments, and spleen. The keywords for Saturn are discipline, karma, limitation, time, mastery, authority, structure, and responsibility. So, right off the bat, that's what we see. Now we look at the transpersonal planets. This is a full documentary. A full document, full memorandum. It's about 20 pages. So let's talk about the transpersonal planets here. Notice how I'm giving you all this information for free, by the way, which you could read it in a book, but most astrologers are making money just telling people stuff about their rising sign, their sun sign, their moon sign, and not really helping them get into the depths. Unless you're KRS astrology, then he's going off on Vedic astrology. He's going ham. He has been for years. The transpersonal planets, which were discovered through the telescope from 1781 onward, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto operate beyond the personal and generational. Their transits reshape eras and entire civilizations. They function as higher octaves of the classical planets and speak most powerfully through generational themes, collective upheaval, and the soul's deepest transformations. In individual charts, they color entire generations and express most personally through their house placements and aspects to the personal planets. Currently, what do we have going on? We have Uranus at 3 degrees 17 Gemini. We have Neptune in Aries at 4 degrees 21. And we have Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees 02. And it's retrograde. So, let's talk about Uranus first of all. Transpersonal, air, fire, neutral, has an 84-year cycle. The sky god who breaks every cage humanity is built for the infinite, rebel, genius, liberator, or rebel. Uranus was discovered in 1781 during the American and French Revolutions, an alignment that inaugurated the modern age of democracy, scientific rationalism, and individual liberty. He corresponds to Uranus, the primordial sky, Prometheus, the firebringer, and Aquarius, the water-bearer. As the higher octave of Mercury, Uranus governs not individual thought, but the revolutionary idea, the sudden insight that shatters the established order. He rules technology, electricity, aviation, astrology itself, collective awakenings, and all that is eccentric, original, or ahead of its time. His transits arrive as lightning, sudden reversals, liberating breakthroughs, or shocking upheavals that cannot be controlled, only navigated. So, its modern rulership is Aquarius. The higher octave of is Mercury. Orbital period is 84 years, 7 years per sign. Body, its ankles, nervous system disruptions, and bioelectric impulses. And the keywords are revolution, liberation, genius, electricity, originality, disruption, awakening, and technology. Okay? Now we look at Neptune. It's, of course, transpersonal as well, but this time it's water, neutral, in a 165-year cycle. The dissolving sea, all boundaries are illusion, all separation a dream, mystic, dreamer, martyr. Discovered in 1846 during the Romantic movement, the dawn of photography, and the spread of anesthesia, Neptune presides over dissolution. The transcendence of the ego, and the longing to merge with something greater than the self. As the higher octave of Venus, he governs not personal love, but universal compassion, spiritual devotion, artistic inspiration, and the oceanic feeling of oneness. He rules film, poetry, music, mysticism, psychic sensitivity, and also illusion, escapism, addiction, and self-deception. Neptune asks, what are you willing to surrender? His transits often feel like the tide, gradual, irresistible, and transforming everything they touch. Our modern rulership for Neptune is Pisces. The higher octave above is Venus. Orbital period is 165 years, 14 years per sign. In our body is the pineal gland, lymphatic system, feet, and neurotransmitters. And the keywords are mysticism, illusion, compassion, dreams, addiction, art, psychic sensitivity, and dissolution. Okay. On to Pluto. Transpersonal, dwarf planet, water, neutral, 248-year cycle. Lord of the underworld, all that is buried, all that must die to be reborn, the alchemist prima materia. Discovered in 1930 amidst the rise of fascism, the Great Depression, and the splitting of the atom, Pluto governs the deepest levels of power, compulsion, and transformation. As the higher octave of Mars, he does not initiate overt conflict but rules the primal instincts, subterranean power structures, obsession, the shadow of the collective psyche, mass phenomena, and the life-death rebirth cycle. Pluto's transits are the most radical in astrology. They strip away what is false, expose corruption, and demand regeneration. They cannot be resisted, only surrendered to with consciousness. His recent passage through Capricorn, 2008 through 2024, dismantled institutional structures. His entry into Aquarius heralds a Plutonian reckoning with technology and collective identity. Modern rulership, Scorpio, higher octave of Mars, orbital period 248 years, 12 to 31 years per sign, highly elliptical. The body, it's our reproductive eliminative organs, DNA, cellular regeneration, as well as the unconscious. And keywords are transformation, power, death, rebirth, obsession, shadow, compulsion, depth, and alchemy. We're going to move right along to the lore of the 12 zodiacal signs. And this is what I'm really excited about because, there's history here, but behind all astrology, there's history, and people just don't understand it yet. So I'm trying to bring it in a palatable sense. Lore of the 12 zodiacal signs, okay? The zodiac, from the Greek circle of animals, is the band of sky divided into 12 equal 30-degree segments through which the sun appears to travel during the course of a year. Each sign is an archetype, a distinct quality of consciousness, a seasonal energy, a symbolic costume worn by any planet passing through it. The signs are classified by mode, cardinal, fixed, immutable, as well as element, fire, earth, air, water, and polarity, masculine diurnal or feminine nocturnal. Okay? Aries, the ram, cardinal fire, masculine, Mars ruled, it's the vernal equinox. So Aries opens the zodiacal year at the spring equinox, erupting from winter stillness with the pure, undifferentiated force of becoming. The ram charges without hesitation, its horns lowered, its will unquestioned. In Greek myth, this is the golden ram of Chrysomelos, whose fleece became the quest of the Argonaut, symbolizing the hero's drive toward glory at all costs. Aries governs the urge to initiate, to assert individual existence against the void, to stake a claim in the world through sheer force of presence. Its shadow is recklessness, impulsivity, and the inability to sustain what has been initiated. So what do we see? The mode and element for Aries is cardinal fire. The ruler co-ruler is Mars. Exalted, Sun. Detriment, Venus. Okay? Fall in Saturn, body, head, face, skull, adrenal glands. Season is northern spring, March 20th, 21st to April 19th to 20th. Moving on to Taurus, which is the bull. It's fixed earth, feminine, Venus ruled. So Taurus arrives once the initial spark of Aries has been caught. Now the flame must become a hearth. The bull stands in a field, patient and immovable, nose to the good dark earth, savoring its abundance. This is the sign of the sacred bull of Egypt, Apis, of Nandi, who bears Shiva, of Europa, carried across the sea on the back of Zeus, disguised as a white bull. Taurus governs the senses, the body's deep pleasures, property, material security, creative will that transforms raw material into lasting beauty. Its shadow is possessiveness, inflexibility, and resistance to necessary change. Its mode and element is fixed earth, ruler co-ruler Venus, exalted moon, detriment Mars, fall Uranus, and our bodies are throat, neck, thyroid, vocal cords. The season is northern spring, April 20th, 21st to May 20th, 21st. Alright, Gemini, the twins, mutable air, masculine, Mercury ruled. So we see Gemini is the zodiac's great shapeshifter. It's Mercury, the eternal adolescent of the mind who discovers that reality has at least two faces, Castor and Pollux, one mortal, one divine. Embody this sign's fascination with duality, connection, and the fertile space between opposites. Gemini governs language, learning, curiosity, wit, commerce, siblings, and the spider's web of local neighborhood. It is a sign of the journalist, the merchant, the student, the conversationalist who can hold opposing views in a comfortable simultaneity, although I beg to differ, sometimes it can't. Its shadow is superficiality, inconsistency, and a nervous energy that prevents depth of engagement. Mode element, mutable air, ruler co-ruler Mercury, exalted, Rahu by some traditions. But usually, where's Gemini exalted? Mercury and Gemini, it could be all over the place though. Gemini is just an all over the place sign. It's like going from here to there to everywhere, and yeah. Detriment is Jupiter, its fall is Ketu, and our bodies are lungs, arms, hands, shoulders, and nervous system. I go as far to say as our brain as well. But the season is northern late spring, so May 21st, 22nd to June 20th, 21st. Cancer. It's the summer equinox, actually. Today is June 22nd, 2026. Cancer, the crab, cardinal water, feminine, moon ruled. So Cancer initiates summer, the sign of the moon, and therefore of the soul's most ancient hungers. The crab carries its home on its back and moves sideways, never quite direct, ever attuned to currents of feeling invisible to others. In Egyptian astronomy, this constellation was a scarab of Khepri, symbol of cyclical resurrection. Cancer governs family, homeland, roots, ancestry, the womb, protective instinct, nourishment, and the deep well of emotional memory. It is the sign of the caretaker, the mother, the keeper of the past. Its shadow is clinginess, moodiness, and a tendency to confuse emotional security without control. A tendency to confuse emotional security with control. So it's mode element, it's cardinal water, ruler co-ruler moon, exaltation Jupiter, detriment Saturn, fall Mars, body, breast, stomach, womb, chest wall. Season is northern summer, June 21st through 22nd to July 22nd, 23rd. Okay. Leo the lion, fixed fire, masculine, sun ruled. Leo burns at the height of the summer, the zenith of the sun's power, and no sign is more conscious of that fire within. The lion is king of beasts, the regal predator who reclines in the noon sun with magnificent unconcern. This is the sign of the hero Hercules, of Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of Egypt, of the slower kings who built their power on the assumption of divine right. Leo governs the heart, creative self-expression, drama, children, romance, playfulness, and a sovereign will to be seen and celebrated. At its highest, it radiates warm-hearted generosity. Its shadow is vanity, attention-seeking, and the wounded pride of the king, who mistakes applause for love. Its mode element is fixed fire, ruler co-ruler sun, exaltation, none, because the sun rules here and cannot also exalt here, in my opinion. Detriment is Saturn, fall Neptune, modern. Body is heart, spine, upper back, and the season is northern summer, July 23rd, 24th to August 22nd, 23rd. Now we look at Virgo. The Virgin, mutable earth, feminine, Mercury ruled. So Virgo presides over the harvest, the moment of careful discernment when the grain is separated from the chaff. The Virgin Parthenos holds a sheaf of wheat, and in sky lore she is Demeter grieving for Persephone, or Astrea, the last goddess to leave Earth. Virgo governs analysis, craft, health, service, hygiene, apprenticeship, and the patient intelligence that perfects through detail and devotion. It is a sign of the healer, the artisan, the meticulous editor who knows that excellence lives in what is cut away. Its shadow is a criticism that never rests, the perfectionism that prevents completion, and anxiety born of the conviction that nothing is ever quite enough. Its mode element, mutable earth, ruler co-ruler Mercury, exaltation Mercury, detriment Jupiter, fall Venus, body, intestines, digestive system, solar plexus, spleen. Season is northern late summer, so August 23rd, 24th to September 22nd, 23rd. Let's observe Libra. The scales, cardinal air, it's masculine, Venus ruled, autumnal equinox. Okay, so autumn equinox. Libra inaugurates autumn at the autumnal equinox, the only moment of cosmic balance when day and night stand perfectly equal before darkness begins to prevail. The scales are the instrument of Ma'at, Egyptian goddess of truth and justice, and of Austria, weighing souls in the underworld. Libra governs partnership, marriage, law, aesthetics, diplomacy, and the principle of relationship as mirror. The discovery that the self is only fully known through an encounter with another. Its great gift is the ability to hold opposing views in elegant suspension. Shadow is indecision, people-pleasing, and the avoidance of conflict at the cost of personal truth. So we see the mode element is cardinal air, ruler, co-ruler Venus, exaltation Saturn, detriment Mars, fall Sun, body, kidneys, lumbar region, lower back. Seasons northern autumn, September 23rd, 24th to October 22nd, 23rd. Scorpio. The Scorpion, Eagle, Phoenix, Fixed Water, Feminine, Mars, and Pluto ruled. Scorpio descends into the dying season with an intensity that nothing can deflect. The Scorpion, the Eagle, and the Phoenix represent 3 levels of the sign's evolution: survival through sting, transcendence through eagle sight, and resurrection through transformation. This is a sign of Persephone's descent, of Osiris dismembered and reassembled, of the alchemist Nigredo. Scorpio governs death, sexuality, shared resources, inheritance, the occult, psychological depth, the primal will to survive through radical transformation. At its apex, it is the most potent force for healing and regeneration in the zodiac. Shadow is control, jealousy, and a withholding of trust born from ancient wounds. So its mode and element is fixed water, ruler, co-ruler, Pluto, modern, Mars, traditional, exaltation, Uranus, modern, moon, and ancient traditions, detriment, Venus, fall, moon, body, reproductive organs, bladder, rectum, pelvis. I'd even go as far as to say our genitals. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I just said that when I literally said reproductive organs. Oh my gosh, I'm tweaking today. So the season is northern autumn, October 23rd, 24th to November 21st, 22nd. All right. I think we're almost getting there. Not really, but we will. Because I have more to talk about after we talk about the signs. We're going to talk about fixed stars as well. So Sagittarius is the archer centaur. It's mutable fire. It's masculine, Jupiter ruled. Sag strings the bow toward the galactic center and releases its arrow with the absolute confidence that truth lies somewhere beyond the horizon. The centaur archer bridges the animal and the divine, galloping through existence with philosophical fire, seeking wisdom in foreign lands, alien philosophies, and the great mythological narratives of the tribe. This is the sign of the Chiron, the wise centaur, of the hero's quest for higher meaning, of the wandering sage. Sag governs philosophy, religion, higher education, long-distance travel, foreign cultures, prophecy, and the ecstatic optimism of the seeker. Shadow is dogmatism, excess, and the intoxication of the perpetual quest that never commits to landing. Alright, so it's mode element, mutable fire, ruler, co-ruler Jupiter, exaltation, self-known by some traditions, detriment Mercury, fall north node, body, thighs, hips, sacrum, sciatic nerve. Season northern winter, November 22nd, 23rd to December 21st, 22nd. Alright, Capricorn. It's the sea goat. Cardinal earth, feminine, Saturn ruled, winter solstice. So Capricorn initiates winter at the winter solstice, the longest night, the nadir of the solar year, from which the light begins its imperceptible return. The sea goat, Capricornus, is an ancient Mesopotamian figure, half goat, half fish, the god Enki, Ea, who brings civilization from the primordial waters. Capricorn governs ambition, authority, career, social standing, worldly achievement, the bones of things, and the relentless patient climb toward mastery. It is the sign of the elder, the executive, the mountain climber who reaches the summit through disciplined, methodical effort over decades. Shadow is coldness, ruthless ambition, and the confusion of worth with status. Mode element, cardinal earth, ruler, co-ruler Saturn, exaltation Mars, detriment moon, fall Jupiter, body, knees, bones, joints, teeth, skin. Season northern winter, December 22nd, 23rd to January 19th, 20th. And we even see with Some of these signs, like Capricorn and Leo, imposter syndrome. Just feeling like because you're either too famous or too well known or in the public eye that you're not really who you are. You're putting on a costume and playing pretend every day to, appease to a certain audience. The masses. Aquarius, the water bearer, fixed air, masculine, Saturn and Uranus ruled. Aquarius pours celestial waters from an urn upon the earth, but the water bearer is not water, it is air, and the substance it pours is not water, but knowledge, vision, and the revolutionary ideas that irrigate the collective mind. This is Ganymede, the cupbearer of the gods, lifted from mortal life to serve at celestial banquets. It is Prometheus bearing divine fire to humanity. Aquarius governs ideals, humanitarian vision, scientific invention, collective consciousness, friendship, rebelling against the status quo, and the future as yet unborn. Its shadow is detachment, emotional unavailability, the paradox of the individualist who wants everyone to be free on their terms. Mode element fixed air, ruler co-ruler, Uranus modern, Saturn traditional, exaltation unwidely accepted, Mercury in some traditions, detriment sun, fall, Neptune modern, body, ankles, calves, circulatory system, bioelectric energy. Season is northern winter, January 20th, 21st to February 18th, 19th. Pisces, the fish, mutable water. Feminine, Jupiter and Neptune ruled. So Pisces closes the zodiacal year in the deep, dreaming before Aries rebirth. The ocean floor of consciousness where all individual identities dissolve back into the undivided source. The two fish swim in opposite directions, bound by a silver cord, embodying the perpetual tension between earthly incarnation and the longing to return to the divine sea. This is the sign of Aphrodite and Eros transforming the fish to escape Typhon of Matsya, the fish avatar of Vishnu who saved scripture from the flood. Pisces governs mysticism, compassion, poetry, film, music, sacrifice, the unconscious, and the transpersonal longing for union with the infinite. Its shadow is martyrdom, escapism, and the dissolution of healthy boundaries. Mode element mutable water, ruler co-ruler Neptune modern, Jupiter traditional, exaltation Venus, detriment Mercury, fall Mercury, body, feet, lymphatic system, pineal gland, immune system. Season, northern late winter, February 19th, 20 to March 19th, 20th. All right. Now that we've talked about planets and signs, we're going to talk about the lore of the fixed stars as well as the lunar nodes, lore of the principal asteroids, and we'll finish up with a closing note. So first we have the fixed stars I want to talk about in their lore. So fixed stars are the great background actors of celestial lore. Not planets that wander the zodiacal belt, but distant suns and stellar systems whose light has crossed unimaginable distances to reach the Earth. In classical astrology, a fixed star conjunct a natal planet or angle within a tight orb, typically 1 degree through 2 degrees, was considered one of the most powerful testimonies in the horoscope. The major fixed stars each carried a mythology, a nature described in terms of planetary blends, and a strong positional influence. They move approximately 1 degree every 72 years, precessing, and the tropical zodiac positions therefore shift over centuries. So these positions given in tropical longitude approximate epoch from 2000 through 2025. We look at the royal stars, watchers of the sky, they're also called. The 4 royal stars were known to ancient Persian astrologers as guardians of the heavens, each watching one of the cardinal directions of the sky, presiding over a quarter of the zodiac. Great fortune was promised to those who had these stars prominent, provided a specific moral condition was not violated. So Aldebaran, 9 degrees Gemini, I have the bull. You see one of the 4 royal stars, watcher of the east, okay? In nature, Mars and Mercury, Aldebaran was a vernal equinox star in Persia circa 3000 BCE. The eye of Taurus flashing red is a harbinger of spring, confers courage, military honor, and royal success. The condition is maintaining integrity and avoiding reckless speech that dishonors one's station. Aldebaran is prominent in the chart of a commander or a statesman, promises meteoric rise. If the condition is violated, an equally dramatic fall follows. Okay? Now we look at Regulus. 29 degrees Leo, the heart of the lion. So watcher of the north, the sun, the little king. In nature, Jupiter-Mars, Regulus is the alpha star of Leo, one of the brightest stars in the sky. Historically, the star most associated with royalty, military success, and magnificent leadership. The ancient Egyptians called it Thes star of the king. Its condition for the great fortune it bestows. The native must never act out of a desire for revenge. A chart notable for ambition and martial prowess, with Regulus angular, often describes remarkable worldly achievement. Whenever revenge is pursued, ruin follows with shocking speed. Antares, 9 degrees Sag, heart of the Scorpion. Watcher of the West, named Antares meaning rival of Mars, anti-Aries for its intense red hue. In nature, Mars-Jupiter, this enormous red supergiant, sits at the heart of Scorpius and represents the ferocity of the scorpion's sting, the warrior archetype at its most primal. It grants fearlessness, penetrating intelligence, and success in military or occult undertakings. On the condition that obsessive ambition does not become recklessness, the fixation of Mars untamed by Jupiter's wisdom leads to self-destruction. Fomalhaut, 3 degrees Pisces, mouth of the southern fish. Watcher of the south, the loneliest of the four royals, a solitary first magnitude star in an otherwise dim region of sky. In nature, Venus-Mercury, Fomalhaut was revered by Persians as one of the 4 celestial sentinels and is associated with poetic genius, idealism, and matters of the spirit. At its best, it confers artistic greatness and a powerful spiritual calling. Its condition is that the native avoid corruption, dissolution, or the deception of others. This is the most spiritually elevated of the 4 royals, and its fall is correspondingly related to spiritual betrayal. Now let's look at the other major fixed stars, such as Algol, which is 26 degrees Taurus, talked about quite a bit on this channel. Algol, from Arabic Ras al-Ghul, head of the demon, is universally considered the most malefic fixed star in Western astrology. It is in fact an eclipsing binary. The winking caused by one star periodically dimming the other gave ancient observers the impression of a blinking demonic eye. In Greek myth, this is the severed head of Medusa, held in Perseus' hand. In nature, Saturn-Jupiter, Algol indicates danger through violence, decapitation, literal or symbolic loss of status, disgrace, obsessive drives, and destructive passion. Yet, at a high level of integration, it also confers the capacity to confront and transmute what most people cannot bear to look at. Sirius, 13 degrees Cancer, the dog star. Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky and one of the most revered in all astronomical history. To the Egyptians, it was Sopdet whose heliacal rising signaled the annual Nile flood, the beginning of the new year. In nature, Jupiter-Mars, Sirius bestows honor, renown, wealth, and exceptional creative vitality. Particularly when conjunct the midheaven or ascendant, the star has been linked to inspired leadership, fierce protectiveness, and the guardian archetype. In occult tradition, Sirius is associated with the hidden teachings of the cosmic spiritual hierarchy. Spica, 23 degrees Libra, the wheat sheaf. Spica is the most benefic fixed star held by virtually every tradition to confer exceptional good fortune, artistic brilliance, and worldly honor upon whoever holds it prominently. In nature, Venus-Mars, the brilliant blue-white binary star, marks the wheat sheaf in the hand of Virgo Demeter. Renaissance astrologers used an amulet engraved with Spica's image as a talisman for genius and success. Copernicus, Spica prominent, is thought to have been inspired in part by a Spica-triggered awakening of astronomical curiosity. It bestows gifts of art, science, and beauty almost regardless of other chart factors. Arcturus, 23 degrees Libra, the bear guardian. So Arcturus, which is Greek for guardian of the bear, is one of the brightest stars in the northern sky, accompanying Spica in the same zodiacal degree, and thus often right in conjunction with it. In nature, Jupiter-Mars is associated with success through exploration, adventure, and pioneering work in new territories. Literally, geographic great navigators have had Arcturus prominent, or metaphorically forging new trails in any field. It imparts guardianship of tradition while simultaneously opening new horizons. Vega, 15 degrees Capricorn, falling eagle. Vega, from Arabic al-Nazir al-Waki, the falling eagle or vulture, was a pole star approximately 12,000 BCE and will be so again in 26,000 CE, giving it enormous mythological antiquity. In nature, Venus-Mercury, the lyre of Orpheus, is sometimes associated with Lyra's brightest star, and Vega imparts extraordinary artistic gifts, particularly in music, verse, and all forms that move the spirit through beauty. It also confers magic, the ability to influence others, and a certain otherworldly grace that carries a hint of illusion or enchantment. Sheet, 29 degrees Pisces, shoulder of Pegasus. Sheath is considered among the most malefic of fixed stars alongside Algol, associated in its stark expression with shipwrecks, drownings, imprisonment, and the melancholy of existential imprisonment. In nature, Saturn Mercury, the name derives from Arabic al-Sa'id, the upper arm, and the star marks the shoulder of the great winged horse Pegasus. However, in its creative dimension, Sheath resonates with poetry, the visionary imagination, and the willingness to fly to extraordinary heights, even at the risk of catastrophic falls. A Icarian quality that can produce genius or tragedy depending on the soul's depth. The natal promise. Alright, so now I want to observe the lunar nodes. Oops. The lunar nodes are not planets or physical bodies, but astronomical points, okay? The two intersections where the moon's orbital path crosses the plane of the ecliptic. When the sun, moon, and earth align at or near a nodal axis, an eclipse occurs. This geometry makes the nodes the gates of eclipse, the hinges of fate. They have been considered among the most karmic and significant factors in the natal chart across virtually every astrological tradition on Earth, from Vedic Jyotish to Hellenistic doctrine to medieval European practice. The nodes move retrograde through the zodiac, completing one full cycle in approximately 18.6 years. The Metonic cycle, adjacent Saros cycle, governs eclipse families. This nodal return at ages 18.6, 37.2, 55.8, 74.4 marks periods of karmic reckoning and soul reorientation. Let's talk about Rahu, the north node, the dragon's head.